Okay, we're not going to go through that anymore. That is just not working, guys. What's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life, in the crazy life that is a digital asset space. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to each and every one of you. Happy, I guess it's Thursday, yes? It's happy Thursday, July 7th. Interesting time to be an early adopter in this new asset class as the digital asset space. We're going to go over the market.
Layer of money market is doing that was unhackable.
What the market does. I'm going to get into that as well. Some interesting stuff coming out of on crypto Twitter. I still the whole Voyager FDIC thing. I think I finally understand it. Like at first, I was like, "Why are people reporting about this FDIC thing? FDIC is not a real thing anyway. Like it's not a real thing." But I finally figured out what Voyager was doing, which was really misrepresenting its platform. In either case, it's
layer of money
curious as to
that was unhackable.
I keep pausing this thing. It's starting on its own. I'm still curious as to where the $300 million for Voyager in USD. Where is it? Is it in the bank or not? Right? It's either in the bank or it's not in the bank. Now, if it's in USDC on the platform, or if it's in USD on the platform, that's a problem. Now, it doesn't matter if it's in the bank. There is no FDIC. The challenge is after filing bankruptcy, do you have access to the funds in your bank? With this particular bankruptcy, which is a Chapter 11, I believe that you do. Now, I'm not a bankruptcy attorney, so I don't know. But if you have assets in a bank, if you have money in a bank, the Chapter 11 is like a reorganization, right? Restructure it. It's different than a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 15 where you're like, I'm toast. So I'm not sure with a Chapter 11, if the millions of dollars is in a bank, does the people from Voyager have access to that? I don't know. I believe so, however. But I am not an expert in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So we're going to go over the market. We'll go over some interesting stuff from our crypto Twitter for sure. It's just a very, very, very crazy time. I would highly encourage you guys to go check out this video here from Scott Melker. It's on Scott Melker's channel. And I actually searched Wolf of All Streets and I found the channel. So, but it's actually Scott Melker. Scott Melker, well, let me do this. This is your XRP Ripple Daily News, guys, in around 0 to 10 minutes. Scott Melker is, pretty big influencer in the space. And he was a promoter of Voyager and Vold, V-A-U-L-D. I looked in the Vold. It didn't, I didn't get great reviews there, so I didn't participate over there. And neither did I participate in Voyager, but he was, in Voyager, like the first 500,000 people on Voyager, he was one of those. And he has millions of dollars on Voyager. It is not the vast majority of his Bitcoin wealth, but feels like it is the vast majority of his Ethereum wealth. But he got, so, the whole shenanigans there with 3AC kind of got them in some problems because they did do a big time uncollateralized loan to 3AC. And it feels like 3AC was just really more really great salesman than anything else. And it just got a lot of people believing in them. And they immediately hit the door. 3AC did. When the going got tough, they immediately hit the door. Right? In other words, they just ran away from everyone who believed in them. For me, that's what it is. We'll see what Voyager does. We'll see if they really value their customers and depositors. We'll see by their actions, right? Just like Celsius, we're going to see by their actions what they do. They have not filed any type of bankruptcy, which is great. And in fact, they paid off a major loan that gives them access to tens and tens of thousands of Bitcoin. which is another great thing, I gotta tell you, for sure. But yeah, go check this video out. It's the future of crypto, why decentralization will win. And it's an interesting panel because basically two of the people kind of agree on one thing and two the people do not, right? The two opposing views there between the four of them. And I think that's and Jeff and Scott was just kind of there to kind of moderate the whole thing. So my understanding is Caitlin Long actually kind of lit into Celsius Network a while back, a few months back, about the model there, and did not think that she's a big time Bitcoin person, and so is Jeff Booth, right? And so my challenge with people that are just Bitcoin people is I don't think they're living in the real world when they just talk just Bitcoin and Bitcoin is the answer to everything. I just don't think that's a real world deal. Now I am reading Jeff Booth's book, The Price of Tomorrow. He a lot of the things he says make sense, except when he gets to the part where it's just Bitcoin. So I encourage you to, right, because they're going on the monetary policy that Bitcoin brings and the sound money principles that it brings. And I agree with those. And in this video, he talks a bunch about what's coming on Bitcoin. And for me, that's a challenge, right? I wish I had a chance to talk with him because what's coming, right? Right? I mean, 13 years now, what's coming on Bitcoin, right? I mean, he actually even had the courage to mention Lightning Networks, which I'm just shocked that that was mentioned. So yeah, check this video out. So it feels like to me, he's operating really from a position of fear and not from strength. That's what it really feels like to me. He's like, why smart contracts? Something could go wrong. Why yield? Something could go wrong. Like I feel like he's just operating from this fear of loss, and then to promote things that are coming on Bitcoin, being built on Bitcoin. Like right? The scalability challenge of Bitcoin has been solved, right? On other blockchain technologies, like it's been solved. But the interesting stuff is neither Jeff or Caitlin brought up the weaknesses in the technology. But more important, in other words, own up that the technology is not there, right? And they never said that. They just the whole hour, however long it was, hour and 15 minutes, was all about the monetary policy and the sound money principles that it brings. And I get it, but you also have to admit if there's some weaknesses like technology, what they're saying is no, just wait for Bitcoin to approve this technology. You don't need all the other stuff. Just wait. Like that is not reality. That's just not a real thing, right? Just wait. That's not good. That's not great answer. Just wait. And these promises to onboard more people. He said 2 billion people within a 24-month period, but that's after they launch something. And again, there is no word on when it's going to launch. When is this new improvement that's going to bring 2 billion people onto Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin network? When is that going to happen? That's the $64 trillion question. So, and again, that's why I love the XRP ledger, because it was created to improve upon the flaws of Bitcoin. And of course, that's never mentioned, right? And so I think you have to be honest and upfront with Bitcoin not having made the payments thing. And you have to be honest and upfront with it hasn't won the store of value thing either. That's still out there. It's still out. There's still an ongoing fight for the store of value argument. Bitcoin hasn't won it, right? It's been 13 years. Bitcoin has not won the store of value argument. It's talked about, it's promoted, but it hasn't won it yet. And I think there's going to be there's going to be a digital asset that is going to compete with that, right? After some regulatory things are done. I really do. So check out that video. Anyway, I've ranted on long enough. It's a very, and I think it's great to get great perspectives for sure from 4 different people, very smart people. Simon, of course, shares his views on Celsius Network and the recovery plan with Bitfinex and how that was hugely successful. Scott Melker really liked it, and so did David David Weisberger in terms of give these people that are in the ecosystem, not people out of it, but the people that are in the ecosystem of BitFinex1, and give the people that are in the ecosystem of Celsius Network. In other words, you have Cell Token, you own some shares in Celsius Network, or you have some deposits. Give them choices to be made whole. Jeff Booth and Caitlin Long essentially like, nope, let it fail, let it go to zero, and let there be lessons learned by the depositors, because they just don't believe in any type of yield when it comes to Bitcoin. They don't believe in any kind of yield when it comes to Bitcoin, which for me means that they're not a big fan of DeFi either. Right? That means you're not a fan of DeFi. So this all Bitcoin and that's all you need. I just think it's just not reality. It's not, it's like second grade stuff. It's not, right? It's not mature adult stuff. So that is the challenge there. I think I want to just go here, just go over this crypto Twitter stuff for sure. But it is a very good listen to. And you want to be able to gain different perspectives. I liked a lot of stuff that Caitlin and Jeff Booth said, a lot of stuff for sure. And my heart goes out to Scott and his family and everybody was on Voyager. For sure. For sure, because I think if there's a mislead by a platform, right? If there's a misleading, like in other words, there's when I want to say intentional misleading, you Voyager, for example, woke up and they intentionally said what they said about FDI assured. And that wasn't that wasn't the case. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a form of misleading there. And Celsius Network, according to Simon Dixon, says that Alex misled depositors because he didn't tell them that you're operating on a high-risk security platform. He didn't tell them that. He told them it was a savings account. And Simon Dixon from Bank for the Future says that was just misleading. It's not true. And I mean, they all agreed on disclosures. Everyone agreed on disclosures except for Jeff Booth. Jeff Booth says it doesn't matter how many disclosures you give. He says people will operate out of fear and out of greed, right? Well, I mean, you got to think about the Bitcoin blockchain network. What is that about? Is that not operated out of fear and greed? I mean, you have to answer for yourself. Is the Bitcoin network operated out of fear and greed? Feels like it to me. Anyway, according to Watcher Guru, and I'm going to show you this is in fact true, Celsius says breaking, Celsius Network has completely paid off its Bitcoin loan. The liquidation price has dropped to freaking zero. And again, we're still all trying to figure out, okay, but why though, right? Right? Why? What's going on here? I'm not really too concerned about where it's coming from. I'm more concerned with why. I want to know the long-term plan here. I really like Simon Dixon's, if needed, let me tell it to all the Celsians out there, if needed, if Alex and the Celsius team can't come up with something better or different. So this is if needed. I like what Bank to the Future and Simon Dixon is offering. I really, really do, because part of that offering, besides the three options for you to choose as a depositor, as a owner in equity, and as a Cell Token owner, you have three choices. I like the idea of choices in the market, in a free market space, but understand, this was with the full intention of carrying on Celsius Network. The name might change, the board might change, the CEO might change, but that kind of thing will move on. The model may change, but it will move on, right? And so in other words, the company, whether it be, again, new people there or not, will continue to move on. Whether the name would have to change, to rebrand the name or whatever, it would still move on. So I like that. I am I like it. I like it. I like it. And my heart of hearts tells me that sometimes CEOs need someone, right, on their right shoulder with opposing views. You need someone, you need that one person that has an opposing view or idea. If it's just a complete dictatorship and I'm the CEO and this is what we're going to do, it doesn't end up well. A lot of times. And so whether it's one person or a group that can run through different ideas to Alex to kind of check what he may or may not want to do, I think that's important. Now, they did create the Cell Team 6 a couple months ago, 3 months ago. And I was always curious as how that was going before obviously this happened. So they did pay off the loan. The question is why? And again, the big time question is, are they illiquid or are they insolvent? But I agree with Simon Dixon 10,000%. Let's prepare for the worst situation and a plan for recovery. Let's not just sit around twiddling our thumbs, waiting for some situation, and then try to start to come up with a plan that doesn't work as well, right? Success loves speed, right? So I like what he's trying to do. And I think the thing that's most important is a sense of deposits being whole, made whole, even if it's a 20% or 30% type deal. Access to your crypto is massive in a lot of ways. And I think people tend to forgive and forget. I think they tend to learn a lesson. I think that people, I'll give myself as an example. If I had 90% of my assets on Celsius, right? And Celsius gets renamed to Fahrenheit, right? I would change that to 10% or 5%, right? Type deal. But I am a big fan of being both a borrower and a lender in the digital asset space. I'm a big fan of it. I'm not asking anyone to agree with it, but I'm a big fan of that. So my lesson learned for me would be to flip that from 90% to 10% or from 90% to 5%, right? Because that's in a CFI situation and I learned a lesson. Now, how much am I going to have on my cold start wallets as opposed to being in DeFi is another thing. And that's a different percentage, right? And all of those things are risk management. And so for me, the biggest challenge here was the lack of education. The big time lack of education when it comes to risk management. And what I like about Bank of the Future is that's one of their specialties, educating and risk management. They believe in digital assets, primarily Bitcoin. They believe in crypto firms that own equity in those things, right? So they really have a good, risk management model to them that I really like. And I think it's important to understand that. And they operate securities. The whole accredited investor thing still applies to the US, doesn't change. But they do have a course in risk management, and he does share a lot of the stuff he does with his model. He has tens of millions of dollars on Celsius, tens of millions. He said it wouldn't affect him in the least bit. It was a small percentage of his overall wealth. I've checked it out a few times. It's somewhere between 120 and 150 million is his net worth. So tens of million is, that's a big hit. And plus he got, last valuation, it was 170 million in the Celsius equity, 170. It grew to 170 million. Certainly don't want to lose that as well. But again, I just think short of Alex and the team coming up with something, short of Alex and the team announcing that they were never insolvent, that it was just illiquid, or that they are now, liquid, they were, whatever, it doesn't matter. Short of Alex and the team coming up with something, I like Simon Dixon and his plan for sure. And it's just going to be a matter of time before we find out what that plan, what and if Alex does have. It's just going to be a matter of time we find out why he's paying off these loans, right? Just a matter of time we're going to find out. So I know this has been kind of thrown out through all crypto YouTube. The SEC has sought permission to file one omnibus, which is a big motion to exclude or limit expert testimony up to 120 pages long. Ripple defendants do not object, provided that they will be allowed the same page limit for the response in opposition. Jimmy James says, The SEC intends to file a motion to exclude or limit the testimony of 10 experts who were retained by Ripple Labs and Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, but no Exhibit A proposed order was attached. And Jeremy Hogan asked, well, are they moving to strike every single person? And I believe that's exactly what they're trying to do. It's just part of the shenanigans that is the SEC. I'm still, again, if Cation Wanning and Ripple versus SEC, I am still of the opinion of a settlement. Look, the capital markets, U.S. capital markets, is going to be a loud bell ringing in the air of Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. You can't deny it. But they're going to want clarity of XRP moving forward. Period. They're not going to leave without that clarity of SEC, what XRP is. And my guess is it's not a security, right? It's what they wanted. The revolving door of our government, the SEC in particular, there's no ending in sight for the SEC's behavior until Congress makes an example out of the entire commission. The SEC has become an agency that polices the broken windows on the street level and rarely goes to the penthouse floors. That is a powerful statement right there. The SEC has become an agency that polices the broken windows on the street level and rarely goes to the penthouse floors. That is powerful right there, right? And in this video, it's about 2 minutes long, basically talking about it's become a revolving door. People go to the SEC to build a little bit of a resume so they can get hired by some top firms and get the big top dollars. Favors are exchanged for such thing. That's exactly what happened with Jay Clayton, in my humble opinion. And that's exactly what happened with William Hammond, in my opinion. There to honor favors. That's it. That's it. And I believe the same thing is going on with Gary Gensler. It's a shame and it's a sham. And until Congress says to Wall Street, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, Sullivan and Cromwell, I don't want your money. I'm going to do what's right for the people. Until that happens, Congress is not doing nada. Because that's the real deal, guys. That's the real life. What do you think these PACs and these lobby things are all about? It's nasty. It's a dirty, nasty business. And we are the testing, like we're in the test lab of all that nastiness that goes on there at Congress with the top banks in the world trying to influence and do their bidding so that we stay in their liquidity pool. Bottom line, Congress tries to balance doing what's right for the people and catering to the masters. That is the problem. That's the real problem. Come on, laptop. We got something here from Michael at Val 5. He said, I want to share it with you guys. I think this whole thing with Voyager and this FDIC thing is not cool. It was in writing, okay? The talks to allow digital currencies to exist in the U.S. economy are underway. The suggestion is to achieve this by linking crypto to the dollar. This contemplation took place on Tuesday at a meeting held by the U.S. Fed. I just think it's interesting that this meeting actually took place. I find it to be very, very fascinating. We said on this channel from day one, once the powers that be discovered that they could not stronghold this technology, they had to decide to embrace it. They tried to stranglehold it. They tried to, put it underneath their grass. They thought about exit ramps and off ramps and on ramps and off ramps. They thought about all of that, and in the end, they realized they could not, right? Because it's internet, right? They can't afford to not be part of the internet. So even with this new computer thing that they're talking about, what's it called? It's the NFS or some madness. So that is the deal there. So yeah, they're gonna have to embrace it. The question is, who is going to be the darling digital asset of the central bankers? Right now, we know it's CBDC, but is there going to be a crypto asset that is going to become the darling of central banks? That's the question. Is it going to stop at stable coins and not go into other cryptos? A major takeaway was the 52 million of remittances processed by National Digital Wallet Service Chivo through the first 5 months of the year. This marks a 3.9%, 118 million increase in value when compared to the same period in 2021. Chivo is that wallet provider for Bitcoin in El Salvador. Come on, laptop. Don't forget to check out that video. Scott Melker. He has that panel on there. He has David Weisenberg. He has Caitlin Long on there. He has Simon Dixon, and he has Jeff Booth. So here, this is from Michael as well. It looks like FDI insurance does not protect against the failure of Voyager, any act or admission of Voyager or its employees, or the loss in value of other assets. Now I know Jungle Link shared this, right? Because a guy shared it with him. He put a link in the description of the guy's YouTube channel, and I forget the name of it. I kind of first broke this, I think, but it says right here, this is John Reed Stark put this out, but Voyager's customer service agreement says FDI insurance does not protect against the failure of Voyager. And I don't know if it's Voyager's customer service agreement. It's the bank saying it, right? The omnibus account at Metropolitan Commercial Bank comes with FDI insurance of up to $250. This protects the money in that account from loss in the event of the bank's failure. It does not protect Voyager's customers for loss in the event of Voyager's failure. This is clearly stated in Voyager's own customer service agreement. So this saying this is actually in Voyager's customer service agreement. What I don't understand is how is that possible? How are you promoting that stuff is FDI insured, but in the customer agreement, you say that it's not insured? FDI insurance does not protect against the failure of Voyager or any custodian as defined below, or malfeasance by any Voyager or custodian employee. However, Voyager's marketing material incorrectly states that FDI insurance protects customers from the company's failure. This is from the marketing material. Through our strategic relationship with our banking partner, all customers USD held, so the dollars held with Voyager, is now FDIC insured. That means that in the rare event your USD funds are compromised due to the company or banking partner's failure, you are guaranteed a full reimbursement up to $250,000. So if you got tens of millions, you got to get $250,000. FDIC is just the biggest sham. Like, I don't understand what people realize, that they went broke and bankrupt when they bailed out savings and loan. There is no FDIC insurance. They just shuffle you from one bank to the other and hope that the people in the new bank that you go to, they don't all coordinate together and try to get the money out at the same time. In other words, attack that new bank. It is hardly surprising that Voyager's customers deprived of the US their dollars are asking when FDIC. An enterprising Voyager customer rang FDIC to ask how they could claim on the insurance. The answer was clear and comprehensive. I called the FDIC earlier and they said Voyager Digital LLC was not a bank and was not FDIC insured. They said for future reference, LLCs cannot be banks ever. So when you see LLC, any claim of FDI insurance is false. They did confirm that Metropolitan Bank is FDIC insured, which is, again, not true. But just because Voyager Digital stated each customer is a customer of the bank doesn't mean they were funding those accounts. In other words, if the US dollar is held on Voyager and is not actually deposited into the Metropolitan Bank, it don't matter. And by the way, it don't matter if it's at the bank. You ain't getting your money because the FTC has none. But at least they'll be able to hook you up to another bank. The challenge is, will everyone just run to that new bank and take all their money out? That challenge still exists. No matter, I don't care if it's FDIC to 1.5 million, it don't matter. The FDIC went bankrupt after they bailed out the savings and loan. Look it up. And if you tell me about a website, what the FDIC says, I say, go to the SEC's website and see what they say. And have you known the SEC to put stuff out on their site that is not true? That is not accurate. It don't matter what the websites say. It just doesn't. All right, so let me continue reading it. They did confirm that Metropolitan Bank is FDIC insured, but just because Voyager Digital stated each customer is a customer of the bank doesn't mean they were funding those accounts. In other words, it doesn't mean that Voyager was taking the dollars that you had on the platform and putting them in a bank. It just means if Metropolitan Bank failed, any holdings Voyager Digital placed under your name there would be safe. But since it's only Metropolitan Bank that's FDIC insured, Voyager Digital failing would not trigger the FDIC insurance. And that's the challenge. Someone comments here, and I think it's a very important point. He says, this makes me so angry. I've made 3 mistakes so far in 2+ years I've entered this market. Putting my trust and investments in Voyager is one of them. Goodbye to all of my HBAR. I'm guessing FU to Voyager, right? Yeah, so that was part of their marketing again. And the reason why Simon Dixon pushes the way that he pushes is because of the full disclosure requirements of a platform operating in the securities manner. Those full disclosure requirements is hugely important for the individual investor. Now, does that fall to accredited investors? Yeah. But only accredited investors would be on the platform, right? And so until we get the accredited investor thing changed, right? Got to get that changed, because remember, 85% plus are not, right? So we have to stay in the non-protection status, if you will. The vast majority of people have to stay in the non-protected status, if you will, because that's what the big banks want. They want the majority of people to stay in the unprotected status. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. It's been a really, really cool hang. I am not feeling well at all, but I did want to make sure I got this video to you guys. I think it's great news. I think it's big news that Celsius Network paid off that loan. I really, really do. But now what's next? What's going to happen from here? We still don't know. But I am encouraged that Simon Dixon has a plan, and they got a multi-billion-dollar syndicate ready to help depositors first. I do like that. It doesn't mean that there's not a haircut just because it's a multi-billion-dollar syndicate, right? It'll still be a 10, 20, 30%, I don't know, type haircut. But at least you'll have access to your funds with the future option of having 3 choices to continue to be made whole if you decide to choose one of them. You don't have to. You can be like, I'll take my 30% cut and I'm done. That's an option. And that option is better than 0 access to the funds. In my humble opinion, in the crypto Caesar's home, I'll take the haircut, right? Right, but 0 access because of bankruptcy and Goldman Sachs and the likes being there to try to sell, sell your stuff and give you pennies, and they keep all the rest. And then they drive the market down because that's what they want to do, to get more digital assets, especially Bitcoin for cheap. That's not a great plan. All right, guys, look, that wraps up your XRP Daily, your XRP Ripple Daily News in around 0 to 10 minutes. I'm going to end this video. Do me a favor before I go, hit that like button for me, please. Appreciate that. And hit the subscribe button, which we're on a race of 10,000 subs, and every single sub definitely helps. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to subscribe to the channel. I hope the information has been of value to you, and ring the notification bell so you know that when we do go live and when we upload a video. I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this.
Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know. That the battle for you has already been fought. And the victory is yours. Go get it.